Okay, so what I was talking about is the on change event occurs when the value of an element has been changed. So this can work with any kind of input type. So if we have input type text, which is what the phone number field is, if we enter, let's see, is it not doing anything here? My function, this value. Oh, it makes me remove focus. Yeah, I thought that would do that live as we're editing. That might not do what we want. So I had to hit that. I had to hit the tab here for this to be updated. So if we had, 920, so if I was entering this in without the hyphens and we wanted it to add the hyphens, I don't know. It depends what you want. You probably don't want it to be editing all the time, but you might want it to change once once focus is off of it. So once you do click off of it or hit tab. So that probably is the good behavior. You maybe don't want it rewriting it as you're typing in here anyway. So that probably is okay. So yeah, if that makes sense, let's still go down the on change path. So I'm gonna grab the field for the phone number. So that is new contact phone.
Are you recording this?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So then I'm just going to add to our listeners here down at the bottom. So I'll just add a var hyphen phone. I'll call this by ID like this. And then we want to add a change just like this guy. And then I'm going to say my dot add hyphens. Yeah, I think that'll be good. So this is going to be part of the address book. I actually want this to be part of contact. So let's take this out of here. So there's nothing saying we have to add all of our things into here. Let me think about that. Add contact. I guess we are doing it in here with add contact anyway. So I won't confuse anybody by doing this. Okay. Thinking out loud. Sorry about that. All right. So then I have to create this my handle file select up here somewhere. So we'll just add it right here. Okay. And then So every time it changes, we want to reread in the value again. So I'm going to say var old val, or I'll just say the original, equals by ID new contact phone dot value. And then I probably want to make sure that this is only numbers, right? I think that's going to be the easiest. So phone numbers can have other things in them sometimes, like pound signs and commas. There's different ways that phone numbers can, sometimes your parentheses, different ways that phone numbers can be represented. So so what I would like to do is, let's see here. We want to do a let's see. So we want to use the string replace function on this, and we can use a. So what I want to do is I want to take out anything that's not a number. Okay, so we have our value, our string value. Okay, that's the value that we read in, and so I want to use replace on this and replace anything that's not a number with blank. Okay, so I'm going to use original.replace here. And then I'm going to just do a regular expression right here, and I'm just going to say backslash capital D. G just means the entire string, so which should be fine. It should be fine even without that. And then we're just going to use an empty string here. So we're going to replace anything that's not a number with an empty string, quotes. Okay. So let's actually see how this works then. And then I'm just going to say by ID. Actually, let's just copy this guy again. Oops. We'll say var new equals new. Oh, why do I have handle file select here? Want add hyphens as my thing. Okay, this isn't hyphenated, obviously. This is just, we're just taking the non-number characters out of here. Okay, so let's just see how this works now. So, open this up. Make sure I didn't introduce any errors. Just like to sanity check things as I go. So, just going to type a bunch of gibberish, hit tab, and it did not update, so I probably have a syntax error. Yep. So where's my error? Unexpected token parenthesis at 437. that's about. Oh. Yep. All right, let's try this again. So, okay, so I put some gibberish in there. But if I type in a phone number, it'll keep the numbers. If I type in with hyphens, it will strip out the hyphens. Okay, so now we want to put the hyphens back in. Okay, so then we're going to want to do some other string manipulation. Okay, so what I would use for that would be, let's see, probably substring. Is this the one we're looking for? Yeah. So we're going to extract the parts of the string. Okay. So once we have only the numbers, we're going to just put hyphens after each part. Okay. So we're going to use substring 1 through 4, and you'll see if we do the demo here. So this is hello world, and if we run the substring function on this, it's going to just print, well, you'll see. So if I just hit try, it prints hello. So it starts, remember, everything starts with 0 in programming. So it starts with element number 1, which is the E, and it counts 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So if I switch this to be 0, and I change this to be 8, and I try it. No, run, and then try it. Okay. Now we can we can actually test our actual thing here. So I'm going to say, give me just the first 3, right? Okay, so we're going to do exactly this. We're going to get the first 3 substring. Okay. But I'm actually going to try to I'm going to split these apart. Let's see. Numbers only. And then I'm going to say var area code equals numbers only dot substring 0, 3. And then var prefix equals numbers only dot substring. This is going to be 3, 3. And then var remainder. I don't know what the rest is called. Numbers only substring 3, 4, so 6, 4. Is that right? I guess we'll see. And then we're going to say var hyphenated equals area code plus hyphen plus, and well, I'm going to split this into multiple lines. Okay, so I think that will do it. Okay, so this should be our code if I didn't make any typos, and if I just eyeballing it got those numbers right. So let's save this. Let's hit refresh. And now if I punch in 888-314-4638, hit tab. Oops. This is prefix. So let's so number without the prefix, number with it. Let's try a shorter number, 123. So here it put in two hyphens because it doesn't know what to do with that. So you could deal with the case of less than 10, where you leave it alone, I guess. Or you could give an error message. But this would fill in the hyphens. Okay. So the things we're doing are we're reading in the value every time we change the value, and we change it by clicking off of it or hitting tab. So every time this value changes, it's going to update that. Okay. So we make sure to strip out anything that's not a number, and then we just split this into its constituent parts, and then we add a hyphen, just with string concatenation, which is just the plus operator in JavaScript, which is super easy. Other languages, not so easy. C++ is much harder for concatenation. And people screw it up all the time, and your computer crashes. So, is that good? Or should we handle that case differently? What do you think? Or somebody have a different example? Now's our chance. Could we do it with regular expressions like in the HTML? Or with just replace it with using regular expression?
Like, is there a way to have your regular expression where you can enter the first three numbers, they can be anything, and
Yeah.
then I don't know, can you do it with regular expressions, or is that not really possible? Because there has to be more.
Yeah. So can we do it with regular expressions?
Maybe not program it so so the hyphens are entered in after you do it, but instead with regular expressions, could we do it where they just stay there? Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, but okay, but they can't stay there with nothing, right? So if there's nothing there, do you want spaces to be filled in? Because
No, a phone number wants to stay with blank, so shouldn't it not really be able to enter it unless it's fully filled with blank?
well, I mean, you'd have to take control of that, right? So like okay, so like if I type in 123, what and I hit tab, what do we want to have happen?
I don't know. I don't really want to keep it because it's got a real phone number.
So then you'd say if it's less than 10, just throw it away.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. I mean, you could do that.
Okay.
Yeah. So that would be as simple as like we strip everything down to digits, and then we would just be like, if numbers only dot length is less than 10, or I guess we could just say is equal to 10, then do this stuff. And then else we would just say that's pretty brutal, but we could totally just do that, right? So if I do 1 2 3 and I hit tab, it'll just wipe it out now. It doesn't give any explanation as to why, and you could do that, right? So you could have like a little, like, you could have an area off to the right that explains like why, like, error needs to be 10 digits. and you could update that. That could be a line in here. You could update like a little message area right next to it. That could be a line right here that you do in addition. I don't know if that's exactly what you're saying, but then if we just enter a regular phone number, then it should work. Of course, then if we do something like +1 920 227 3248, then it won't work. So you got to deal with like country codes are a thing, so you might have to deal with that. But maybe you don't want to have anybody that's not in the U.S. You know, it's your program. It depends what this is for. So yeah. So anyway, I will. I'll upload this to the help me area. Yeah. Anybody want to see anything else? Especially on address book, since I have that open. You guys know how to handle the buttons properly, right? That was pretty self-explanatory. Okay. So anything else? Anything else on address book? Anything else on 17? And you notice whenever I answer these things, yeah, shoot your question on address book. Yeah, I was just gonna say whenever I answer these things, I try to show where you can find more information on this in W3 schools because I feel like their JavaScript information is great. So not that you should have necessarily known to get the answer there yourself, but just where you could read up more on it. So, what's your question on address book, Aaron? Or are you still formulating it? Sorry, I didn't scroll. Okay, the only issue I have with my address book is that the birth date will accept anything. Is that due to the regular expression or is there a bug? I've not altered the regular expression for the birth date. Okay, so so the birth date is a little bit will accept anything. It'll accept anything, so you can like put George in here. So like this marks it as red. So in the HTML, this is not valid. So that's one thing. At least that's in the code that I provided. And then so then the marks are red as well. When I hit enter, it goes through. Okay. So the birth date, the way that that's handled, that's birth field here. We're reading in the value. We're doing a valid birth date test here. So this is regular expression on that. But then I also have an is birth date bad function. So I don't know if you changed that maybe at all. So I check I do a bunch of tests on this stuff, right? So I'm basically saying if the birth date is a non-zero length, so if you enter something for the birth date, then it does this test. So if valid birth date exists, basically, then test it against the regular expression. And then it says not a valid birth date, regular expression. Okay. But then it also gets a return value here of true false on is birth date bad here. Okay. So so we have is birth date bad. Oops, that's above, going the wrong way. Okay, so is birth date bad? It will return like what type is bad. So it'll return month, day. It'll return whether the year, the day, or the month is bad. Okay, so that does a bunch of like splitting of the string. So so if you enter it with the slashes, it splits them on slashes. Okay, so and I wrote that in the as the default here. Okay, we'll go through if incorrect. Well, I don't know. Let's try this. I will copy exactly what you said here. I don't know. Let's see if that goes through. Maybe there's a bug in it that slipped through since the last time I was looking at this. Oops. What? Some photos. Photos. Where are my photos? Down here. Oh, why is this broken? That's weird. You are correct. Why did that go through? Var split if year is equal to 0. Return value. So we should have had another test in here. I think I originally did. That's super weird. Um, mm, 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 mm. Let's see. Well, it should be catching if any of these are invalid values, though. It should be checking out right here. It should choke on month right away. So why is that not happening? That's super weird. That used to work. So I don't know if I made a change here that screwed that up. My birth date. Validate birth date. So I'm gonna have to take a look at that. Um, that is a great question. That should be working. So I will post up a correction for that. I don't know why nobody else caught that. Either everybody fixed it or nobody cared. All right. So that is a good catch. Thanks for noticing that. So something is awry there. So I'm gonna go through and debug that. I'm gonna go through pretty much line by line, see where something's going wrong there. I don't see anything obvious though. Okay, cool. I don't want to bore you making me watch me debug my code when it should already work. Pretty sad. So I'm on a call. What? Oh, okay. All right. So, anybody have anything else? So a stumper. Okay, cool. So I will have a quiz for you guys this week, for sure. Possibly even one soonish and one later in the week. We kind of fell behind on those a little bit. I think we're just going to have to live with being a little behind on that, and that's okay. And we will introduce the final project either Thursday or Tuesday. And that could be kind of up to you guys, I guess, too. Depends on how things are for space game. So try to come ready with questions for space game on Thursday, if not before. If you have questions before, try to put those up on Canvas. I will add a little discussion thing on Canvas for that too. And I try to keep up on those as best as I can. So, other than that, I will get the videos up. I'll stop this video. Looks like we're kind of done.